Betty. Welcome to my kitchen.
A couple of months ago, we were up in Vermont to be with our granddaughter while her parents went off to Paris for about 10 days or so. So the night they were coming back, I wanted to have something really lovely for dinner. Complicating the fact just a little is that our son-in-law is a vegetarian. And I didn't want to prepare two meals, so I did like many of you do. I went on the web to look for something. There's an excellent website called The Smitten Kitchen. She's a young woman who lives in Manhattan and produces amazing food out of a kitchen the size of a closet, from what I can gather. But in any event, I found this recipe for tortellini. And it's what I prepared for the family that night, which they enjoyed greatly. And I've done it several times since for our family in England. I did a demonstration, I should say, down at our clubhouse one day, and it seemed to be enjoyed by all. So now I'm going to prepare it for you. And it's a lovely dish because if you happen to have the ingredients in your refrigerator, you can have dinner on the table in less than 20 minutes. So here we go. The ingredients, the main ingredient are cheese tortellini. Now the original recipe used frozen, which I guess is handy because you can always have them in the freezer. But this particular brand is imported from Italy. My local supermarket stocks it, and the little grocery store in Vermont that I went to stocked it, and I can recommend it highly. So the other ingredients are up 3 or 4 slices of thinly sliced prosciutto, about a half cup of frozen peas, and to finish it off, we're going to use some good, freshly grated Parmesan. You don't want to ruin this dish at the end by using that stuff that comes in a jar at the supermarket. I've got some creme fraiche, about 6 ounces, and I'm going to be using a few drops of lemon juice. And of course, we need some olive oil. So to start it off, we're going to cook the prosciutto until it's nice and crisp. So I've just put a little bit of olive oil in the fry pan to get it started, and we'll peel off these slices and let them crisp up. Now, if you're planning ahead, this is certainly something you could do ahead of time and cook it till crisp, and then it's just all ready to crumble and go in your dish. I'm going to get about 3 slices in here, I can see. There we go. Just going to let that heat comes up, and once it has cooked a bit on one side, I'll turn it over and let it crisp up on the other. Just going to turn this over. I should add that the difference in this recipe is that we're going to cook the tortellini the way you cook Chinese dumplings. And it makes for a really delicious dish. And I forget what the original recipe was called, but I call this tortellini with a twist. The prosciutto is browning up nicely. I just want to let that go a little more so that I'm sure it's crisp enough for me to be able to crumble it. All right, so once that looks like it's cooked, we're going to take it out and let it drain on some paper towels. It's not so much that there's so much fat on there, it's just that the more fat I get off, the crisper it will be. All right, now we're ready to start cooking our tortellini, and the pan looks a little hot. So I'm going to add some water. This is going to make a bit of a swoosh because the pan is so hot. And then I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. 2 tablespoons. I'll give that a stir. Now, you can actually do this one of two ways. You can do it the way I'm doing it, putting the water and the oil in first and allowing the water to cook off. Or you can cook the tortellini in the oil first, allow them to brown, and then put the water in. The problem being is if you put the water in at the end like that, it really makes an enormous whoosh and lots of steam and lots of spatter all over the place. This is a neater way to do it. Just going to pour these tortellini in. This is about a 10-ounce package, and depending on your family's appetites, we'll serve 2 to 3. Turn this back up and let it boil, and I'm going to cover it. And these are going to cook just until the water evaporates. I don't want the steam to come out. It'll take about 5 or 6 minutes for that water to cook and evaporate, and it will cook the tortellini in that time. They only take about 5 minutes to cook. If you're using frozen, obviously they'll take a little longer. So we'll be back in 5 minutes. Right, the water has evaporated, and you can see they're starting to turn a beautiful brown on the bottom. Just exactly what we want here. It somehow seems to add some flavor to the pasta too. So all that remains now is to add our peas. I'm going to let them cook. I'll toss them around for just about a minute. They'll cook very quickly. This is a great weeknight meal when you're in a hurry. Of course, the only problem is if you want to make it for a lot of people, you do need a bunch of frying pans. You don't want to overcrowd these when you're cooking them. Just let those peas cook a little bit. All right, I checked my peas. They're cooked. I'm just going to transfer this to a serving bowl. You don't want to add the creme fraiche to the frying pan. It's too hot, and it will just it'll dissolve it too much. We want to do that in a bowl. So I have it all ready right here. I'm just going to scoop this in. Well, pretty much all of that. Just toss this with the warm pasta, and it's going to get lovely and melty. Makes a beautiful sauce with just that little tang that creme fraiche has. And once I've got that tossed a little bit, I'm going to mix in my freshly grated Parmesan and just a few drops of lemon juice. Not a lot. That's why I'm using this, just this little end of a lemon. I don't want too much in there, just a few drops. It's amazing how just a few drops really adds a lot of flavor. So there we are. And just about the only other thing that needs is a few grindings of fresh pepper. And then we'll add our crumbled prosciutto over the top. And there you have tortellini with a twist. A dish fit for company. Enjoy.
What's the point of making good food if you can't share it with good friends?
I agree.
Yummy. Can't wait.